everyone, this is Modern with Randy. I am Randy. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about a deck that has a surprising uptick in the metagame, basically. And of course that is Mono White Humans, Mono White Weenies, whatever you want to call this deck, essentially. But this deck has been ticking up a lot here as we kick off into the RCQ season. Turns out that, playing a bunch of 1 and 2 drops and beating your opponent's face in is still a good game plan. I know, surprising, who would have thought? But this deck has been ticking up in popularity. I do think it is probably because of being able to have 1 Containment Priest that gives them an answer to the Vein Ripper problem, so to speak of, as well as just being a quick, efficient deck that doesn't really line up well with removal most of the time, thanks to things like Thalia, Guardian of Thrabian, Coppercoat Vanguard, as well as the 3 copies of Brave the Elements here that just kind of like help push through damage and do well. Just kind of quickly doing a quick rundown of the deck for you guys. It is playing 22 lands. They get to play 2 castles, 2 Aganjos, and then 4 Mutavaults, and then all the rest are plains. Basically, you're probably gonna you should theoretically always have perfect mana with this deck. That being said, I have played against players who somehow managed to draw 2 Mutavaults, 1 plains, and have 3 Adelheims just running in their hand. Kind of a corner case scenario, obviously. But anyway, so what we have here is 2 Dauntless Bodyguard, good creature to protect your 2 drops that you want to keep protected, basically like your Coppercoat Vanguard, your Thalia's, Thalia's Lieutenant. Just a great little bodyguard, basically the best way to describe him. Hopeful Initiate, probably one of the best 1-drops that we've had in a long time for this deck. It has training, so whenever this creature attacks with another creature with greater power, you get to play a +1/+1 counter on it, and you get to have pay 3 to remove 2 counters from it, try to remove 2 counters from among creatures you control, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Notably, this is good if you are, especially so if you go turn 1 Hopeful Initiate, turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 Thalia's Lieutenant, you can kind of just keep this held up with then against the control decks when they go to play things like Temporary Lockdown and stuff like that. In response to Temporary Lockdown's trigger, you can remove the counters below a Temporary Lockdown, then nothing gets taken away. Kind of a cute little trick there, as well as it kind of helps you against some of these Nib to Light decks and things like that, where you're able to enter their Leyline Bindings and the other problematic enchantments. Not something that comes up huge. Mostly this is just a 1/2 that keeps getting bigger and bigger, which is always good. But outside of that, there's some kind of cute little tricks you can do. We get to play 2 Kytheons. Great little 2/1 that gets pays 3 mana and gives it indestructible, as well as it gets to be a Planeswalker on the back half, which always, it's just good to have a Planeswalker that is hard to deal with and makes your opponent have to deal with things. We have our Recruitment Officers, which is a 2/1 for 2, and then we get to pay 4, look at the top 4 cards of our library, you can reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less and put it into your hand, the rest in the bottom in random order. Basically, this is just a good top deck or late game effect. When we have 4 lands out, we just can keep churning through and making sure we're hitting our creatures, hitting our value. And then, of course, our Annoyance Suite, as I call them, or the reason we play this deck, basically, we are playing the full 4 Thalias, great against most of the decks that are running out there, slows down Phoenix, slows down Control, can slow down even the Vampires deck with their removal spells and wanting to play Storon on 3, helps against the Light deck and all their spells they want to play. Basically, just it hits every deck in the format besides this deck. This is the only deck that Thalia is bad against, arguably, is the deck that plays all creatures, basically. Then we have Coppercoat Vanguard, which is a great improvement to the deck. Basically, the reason why we're basically playing all humans is each other human you control +1/+0 and has Ward 1. So Ward 1 on top of having Thalia, it just starts to add up now. If everything, all your spells costing 2 more to cast or target, basically, it just adds up and it slows you down so much. That's why you can kind of snowball with this deck very easily. And then we have the Containment Priest. Like I said, this is basically in here just for the Rakdos Vampire deck, being able to exile and deal with Vein Ripper for 2 mana and not taking any damage or doing anything, sacrificing any creatures. Huge upgrade for this deck. Or, well, not really upgrade for this deck, but so much as a huge, just value for this deck, as well as it just being a 2/2 with flash. So cute little thing there. Also good against creativity. That's not that that deck is like amazingly everywhere, but it has been hard to spring back up. So just a great little ability, great little thing to see. And of course, Thalia's Lieutenant, the whole reason why we play this deck, basically, being able to pump your whole team, and then whenever another human comes into the battlefield, it pumps Thalia's Lieutenant. We have Brutal Cathar as our answer to exile any problematic creatures. Just a great little creature. And then Adeline, which again, that's a great Vigilance, X4, equal to the powers equal to the number of creatures you control, and then whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human soldier human token, Jesus Christ, that is attacking as well. So, you know, basically you can play her on 3, attack with your creatures you already have played out, you get a human to go along with that attack, and then of course we have Brave the Elements here as our answer to kind of either push through damage, protect our creatures, whatever's going to come up in that situation. But this is a great little deck. This deck used to be really popular, it kind of died off. I will say I think that this deck still struggles heavily against Amalia. If they just go 1, 2, 3 for Amalia, like, you're not going to be able to win that game. Like, you're going to lose. Even saying you have a way to, like, their Amalia doesn't have haste or whatever. Like, they put Amalia on as the third creature, you untap, play Brutal Cathar, they're going to be at 1,000,000 life. Like, it's still so hard for you to beat through that. Not saying you can't do that, but it seems rather almost impossible. So it is something kind of to notate about this deck that, like, if you're a better game, you're expecting a lot of Amalia, I wouldn't bring this. Because I think that Amalia is just going to roll over to you 9 times out of 10. And that 10th time is still going to feel like a beating. But I do think this deck is good against the majority of the decks out there. I think it's kind of been cast aside because of Amalia. And I do think that this might be a time for this deck to shine if you're not expecting a lot of Amalia at your RCQs or your FNMs, whatever you're playing Pioneer at. And then going over the sideboard here real quick, we have 4 wedding announcements because that card's good. Not really too much to explain about this. It's for the grinding matchups. It's for the control matchups. It's for the vampire, Rakdos vampire matchup, things like that. Redain, God of the Worthy here is definitely for the control matchups or like the Nib the Light matchups too, being able to make their spells that cost 4 mana or more cost 2 more. Just another way to tax people. Just you're always be taxing, always be playing humans. Portable Hole is our removal. One of our good removal spells here to hit all the 2 or less value. Really great against the Ledger Shredders and Phoenix and things like that, where like you need to answer those type of things. Answer a lot of problematic things. We have Decoration of Stone, again, just something that exiles answers. Good removal spell. Nothing more to say about that. And then we have our 2 Rest in Peace here for all of our graveyard shenanigan decks, like Phoenix and things of that nature. Again, just a good spell. Nothing more to really say too much about. Overall, like I said, I like this deck, guys. It has been seeing a uptick in popularity, so do be prepared to see it possibly at some of your RCQs. Obviously, it's not like taking over. It's not taking over the meta. It's not doing anything amazing, but it is a good creature deck. It is a good low to the ground. I'm going to go 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, and I'm going to make you answer this. Do you have the answers? Not, then you're going to lose. But as always, if you like what I'm doing, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Helps out the channel. Leave a comment too what you guys are seeing in your RCQs. What are you taking to your RCQs? Love to hear from you guys. But as always, until next time,